Hello people, it's the Secret Anime Fan here. Today is a chapter review of One Piece 949, and for once I'm on time reviewing it, so let's get started. So coming off the epic end of the last chapter where we saw the epic pose of Luffy and everyone else, which at the time let me know it's about to go down. It looks like it's finally getting started. Luffy and everyone else start to wreak havoc whilst getting shot at with the plague bullets. And it must be noted, no one can seem to be hit. So does that mean everyone in that group is using observation hacking? Talk about Raizu, Luffy, Old Man Hio, and everyone else. It must be right. That's pretty damn cool, but I suppose it's not too surprising. But of course, that can't be said for the rest of the prisoners who are attacking the wardens and everyone else. They are more easy targets, and they're basically dropping like flies from the plague bullets. I love seeing Luffy and Chopper get pissed at this and they do a joint attack, especially like Chopper doing one, getting shine, and two, attacking, as it must mean more to him seeing people getting affected with viruses. Sure, Luffy also cares, but being a doctor, it must infuriate Chopper to see this happening. Talking of Chopper, it's nice to see him get some shine and to see him in action instead of just being used as comic relief. Even if I love when Oda does use Chopper for that, I also like to see any of the other Straw Hats actually get some action in. So we see a glimpse into what the red scabbards or the red sheaths, whatever translation you want to go about. I don't know what the actual real one, they pretty much mean the same thing in a way. And we get to see what they're all about, just briefly, mind you, and Old Man here as well. It was nice to see them in combat. I can see it now. The anime stretching this out, stretching out this scene for about 265 episodes. Just kidding. I actually think this would look better in the anime, and I wouldn't mind it more stretched out, seeing them in action. I just think it would look better in the anime. Now, let's talk about Kid, who we see in this chapter, and he looks a little bit gloomy and very deep in thought. Not surprising, as one of his crew members is right next to him, suffering, and he's just been freed from drowning, which would be a very big toll on any person. And we see Raizo throws him the keys to his cuffs, but he's just sitting there, and I can tell he's just thinking, what should I do now? Join in and help Luffy and the rest, make a run for it, or focus all my effort on helping his crewmate Killer? Or he might be thinking of, who knows, just anything. He could be thinking about life, what he's been doing up to now. I can just tell he's just a little, I wouldn't say completely defeated, but a little bit just, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I've been through a lot. That's just my opinion, but anyway. Either way, he's just sitting there taking everything in that's going on because all of this havoc's going on around him. He's just sitting there taking it all in. Notice he doesn't just jump up straight away and scramble to get the hands on his keys to free himself. He's just sitting there. So I don't know. Now, let's talk about this virus. It seems like some pretty nasty stuff and pretty dark stuff for a shonen manga. Of course, there's a lots of shonen manga that are pretty dark. I think One Piece has definitely got more darker and recent arcs. Maybe, I don't know. All the Straw Hats like backgrounds are pretty dark, and a lot of things that go in the One Piece world are pretty dark. So maybe I am not talking sense here. But let's continue the review. Now, we find out that this virus makes the sufferer feel like they're burning all over and makes them like wriggle in pain and just like a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, these bullets were created by Queen, hence the name, Queen the Plague. And we already knew that he was creating these kind of things from last chapter, I believe. But it got me to thinking of the other two commanders, Jack the Drought and King the Conflagration. Will we see more depth to their nicknames like we are with Queen? I can't wait to find out. Will they also be linked to weapons? We know Jack's already used a weapon, the poison gas Koro, I think it was, but I don't quite see how that related to a drought. Maybe he has another weapon that causes a drought. I suppose the poison gas causes a battlefield to be barren and drought-like. I don't know why I just had trouble with that word, but it's still not quite like a drought. So yeah, so that leaves King of the Conflagration, which of course refers to fire, and we've seen King have flames come from his body. which most likely refers to his ancient Zoan devil fruit, the Pterodon, which most likely is actually the fire Rodon. This is just from the wiki speculation on the internet. But I don't think it's your bog standard Pterodon because obviously fire wouldn't come from that. But I have yet to look extensively at that, at if his devil fruit has more to it than a Pterodon. But I will do that in the future. I might make a video on it. Either way, I don't think it's your bog standard Pterodon, as I just said. Or he could also be using a weapon like Queen has, linking him to Queen. So either way, they all have it's either they all have powerful weapons up their sleeve, or, and I'm not quite sure how to put this, but here goes. All three will eventually cause their nicknames to happen: Drought, Plague, and Conflagration, either on purpose or by accident. That's what I think. Their nicknames may also refer to their hobbies and maybe even reflect their personality. Anyway, back to the chapter review. I don't know, I've said that twice in a row and I've gone off on a tangent. So the virus or disease is called mummy and it has a major benefit besides just pain and infection and other stuff. And I would say that is psychological torment. As we see, it has turned prisoners against prisoners of Uden against Luffy and the rest. And none of this would have happened if they were not around. I'm talking about if Luffy wasn't around or the red sheaths or scabbards were not around. None of this would have happened to the prisoners, and they even say this in this chapter. So it's definitely caused the sufferers a psychological torment. There's also the fact that the people who have yet to be infected also have like psychological torment because they don't want to be infected. So they basically have to obey the person who's causing the plague or virus unless they want to be infected by the other people who are basically cause other people to be affected by touch. So there's basically, hey, you better obey me or you also suffer the fate of the others. So it's better to obey me before you get infected than afterwards, which I find very interesting. So it's not just a powerful weapon on a physical level, but mentally too. And this is exactly what we see this chapter. The prisoners are mentally broken by the power of Queen's plague shenanigans. They start spouting, you have no chance against Kaido and things like that. Just look what Queen can do, let alone Kaido. Queen can cause such a devastation. And well, Luffy's going to be Luffy. He's not having any of it. We see his serious side appear. There are two sides to Luffy, I would say. There's the serious side. There's two sides to these Luffy will be Luffy moments. The serious side and the funny side. And this time it's the serious side. Luffy decides to actually touch the infected prisoners and push them away to basically try and lift their spirits. It sounds like a weird way to try and lift their broken spirits and to speak some facts about being in prison. Basically saying being imprisoned and living like this is no good way to live your life. And because all the prisoners were like, oh, if you didn't show up, this would have never happened. We would just be doing our daily thing, which is no way to live. Saying this stuff, and basically Luffy says, in reference to the virus, saying this stuff ain't gonna work on me. Quite the badass. Fearsome, not to Luffy. This is the man who's going to be the Pirate King. What's a little virus to him? Naturally, everyone's flabbergasted that Luffy decides to even touch these prisoners, and Chopper's basically freaking out. All in all, while it may have been stupid of Luffy to do, you can't deny it was an epic moment. Lucky Chopper is on hand, and him being there is going to play a major part coming up in the story next. Not just helping Luffy and the rest of the infected prisoners, but remember he has Killer to help out as well, and he'll probably help out Killer and then help out the rest of the people suffering. Now, I think I said this before that I was surprised Oda didn't use the plague bullets in recent chapters before this one to infect Luffy to build up his resistance to viruses like he has done with poison. But now he has, so I'm kind of happy he has done that. Still not sure what significance, if any, it will have, but we will have to find out in the future. The chapter ends yet again on a high note with Luffy's speech being continued, referring all the way back to the start of Wano, and that is Luffy made a promise. He will make Wano into a country where everyone can get their fill of food. We've come to defeat Kaido, he proclaims, and that was very nice to see. I love that part. Obviously, he's referring to himself and the Straw Hats plus Law and his crew. Love the ending of this chapter. Now, Luffy basically indicates he's going to be as important to Wano as Odin was, which is basically very, very big shoes to fill and very big words from Luffy. Now, was it confirmed previously that Kaido was the actual one who killed Odin? If not, that is very exciting news. Or is this the first time? I don't know. Either way, reading out this chapter just makes me think of the kind of battle they would have had. Must have been an epic battle, as Odin was a member of the Roger Pirates, so a member of the Roger Pirates against a Yonko is a thing we all want to see. Now, a person who was both is even more epic. Shout out to Shanks. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check out my channel for more anime and manga content such as One Piece, My Hero Academia, The Promised Neverland, and Dragon Ball, the odd Dragon Ball Dokkan video too if you're interested in that. Please like and subscribe, and see ya.